I think the next tests are really delivering on the crisis agenda, which of course is how to coordinate exit strategies in the macroeconomic policy realm, how to make more progress domestically primarily on financial regulatory reform in the 19 countries, and how by January of 2011 to make progress on World Bank and IMF governance reform. And I think those are the primary issues. Those are difficult ones. I think Canada's in a strong position on the financial regulatory front for its summit in June to carry forward the financial regulatory set of issues and nudge governments along on that path. Oh yes, absolutely. And there are more to come, or more need to be forthcoming. I mean, in the Financial Stability Board area, for example, I mean, there's issues about who should the Financial Stability Board actually report to. Should it report to a treaty-based universal membership organization like the IMF, or should it report to the G20, which is a loose, informal mechanism which is composed of national governments? And that's just one among several issues in the Financial Stability Board area. In the framework area of mutual assessment of the framework towards strong, sustainable, and balanced growth, I mean, one of the findings of this last 2 days here in Waterloo was precisely that some of the governance aspects of that agenda are as challenging, if not more so, than the economic agendas of trying to get macro policies aligned in such a way that it's more inclusive of the whole globe and moves away from the concentrated imbalances between the US and China. So the innovations there are that for the first time, what's called in the IMF surveillance, which means inspecting other people's economic policies, is actually going to take place not between the IMF and a country government, but there's going to be peer review by G20 governments of each other. And that's a major shift in the whole idea of surveillance. I think that what has happened since the founding of CIGI is that CIGI has evolved as a network itself, and has now a sort of portfolio of networks which brings together a diverse group of people depending on what the issues are that are being talked about. And that combined with its partners in this endeavor, CIGI's managed to have access to public officials, of course, here in Canada. We did in the last 2 days, and in other governments as well. We're working with the Koreans. We've had a consultation last year at this time with the UK officials preparing the G20 summit in London, in February, of last year, where we brought people together to discuss issues for the London summit. So there's been an important involvement of policy officials related to G20 summits, along with the expert communities that CIGI has drawn upon and represents itself. And what happens then is that the policy guys are focused on the day-to-day pressure of producing substance for the agenda and a process for their leaders and their ministers. We on the outside are able to see the substance and the process differently because we're not responsible for it. So I think what we've discovered is that there's a happy synergy or catalytic effect, as you suggest, that accrues to this whole process, whereby we are able to bring some perspectives to bear on it that officials simply aren't able to see because they have their nose in what's in the day-to-day. And they, in turn, are able to impart to us some of the realities of what the process will bear and what some of the ground truth realistic constraints are and what will happen. So it begins to sharpen our own vision about where the possible forward movement points are and where they're not. So I think it's been an extraordinarily productive combination of experts and officials, and from a diverse array of countries and professions and think tanks that CIGI has brought together, and that there is a substantial record now, I think, of influence on both the process elements of the G20 and also some of the substantive issues that it's actually moved on so far.